Lynn here, man, MMA fighter, up and coming, up in Dallas. So, man, we want to talk about your growth, man, your beginnings, man, from your childhood, man. Where you originally from?
Before we get started, I just wanted to know I had a few brothers fight last night. I just want to give them a quick shout out. I just wanted to give my brothers at Fortis MMA. Congratulations on the win, you guys. I'm very proud of y'all. That's I believe we won like what 6 fights last night. Congratulations, you guys. Just try to keep it up more. And I'm proud of y'all. Love y'all. Can't wait to see y'all again.
All right, man. Word up to y'all too.
Just a quick background, I'm a born and raised Dallas kid, grew up here my entire life. I mean, I spent a few years in Michigan and stuff like that with my grandma, but other than that, been in Dallas majority of my life.
Okay, man. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not where you originally
I was born here.
born
It
here.
did
Okay.
sometime there.
Okay, man. And so, growing up, man, how was your childhood, man? You have any siblings, brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I have one older brother, and one younger brother. The younger brother come into the picture till a little bit closer to middle school for me. So I would say in my earlier years, like up to like 10, 11 years old, it was just me and my older brother Roderick. So uh, it was just him and I. And it was a great upbringing. We had two loving parents that were married, uh, beautiful family, once my little brother came in, he came around, like I said, when I was around 11 years old, 10,
Okay.
11 years old. And I lost my father around that same time.
Man, I can
So,
relate to you on that, man. I was around 14,
yeah,
15 years old.
yeah. So, for I would say on the I wouldn't say back end, but like a little bit well on the back end of my middle school into high school into college and stuff like that. I just had the single mom. A lot of guys in and out of the picture, but my mom did her thing. Raising three boys by herself, and you know, anyone like you said, you had like a mom, just your mom raising you. That could be a real challenge for them.
Man,
Yeah.
I mean, it's deep, man. Your childhood's a little bit more sweeter when it comes to the
I
parents
don't.
thing.
I don't
Uh,
know. Sweater is the word I would use, but
man.
you might be thinking like the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah,
I promise you, it
yeah.
wasn't always sunshine and
Man,
rainbows.
man. But growing up, I mean, you had a brother, right?
Yeah.
Going into high school, how was your high school life, man? Career wise, did you know what you wanted to do going to high school, or you were still like,
Uh, Honestly, not clearly. Like in high school, I was a big like nerd. I would say, I was big into anime, and I was also just kind of a book kid. So I always just try to focus on my studies and stuff like that. I did sports a little bit. I did track, football, and stuff like that. Um, but I was more focused in the musical realm when it comes to like orchestra and stuff like that. I just enjoyed it a little bit more. But I feel like with most people in that age group in high school, you really don't have
Mhm.
a complete general detail of what you want to do with your life.
Right?
But I just felt like, at that time, music it was a strong passion of mine.
Okay, man. Okay.
Yeah.
So, did it lead you to going to college for music, or
Yes, it did. I went to UNT for a short period to study music. I did like a year and a half studying music, I believe. And it just got to the point where I kind of fell out of love with it because if you know anything about UNT, it's
right?
heavy on this music program and stuff. So it's extremely
Man,
competitive. And the competition there just made me feel a little doubtful about my skill. And I would say part of me regrets it in the sense that like I felt like I gave up a little bit because that competition scared me when it should really had driven me more. But I was young, so I didn't really know how to experience it.
right?
Uh, then halfway through, I kind of transitioned into like sports science. So that's where I kind of started falling in love a little bit more with working out, training, and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And I studied kinesiology for a while before just school just felt overwhelming. Then I decided to move back home.
Man, how was the school when we talk about high school career wise? How was the we talk about women. How was the women thing in high school? Because everybody got different stories on
I had no
it.
game.
Man.
No game. Like I said, I was a big nerd anime kid, so I was more like, no, I'm gonna say I had bad like relationship with women. It was more just like I wasn't
Focused,
interest.
wasn't even thinking
Yeah,
about
most girls
that.
didn't really focus on me because back in high school I weighed like what, a buck 15 soaking wet.
Man.
Um, and just what I was interested in, like music, video games, and martial arts a bit. It just didn't really like please a lot of women,
Man,
but
that's deep, man. And
they're
so,
lost.
yeah, definitely, man. And so,
I'm happier now with the person I'm with.
so you know, you trying to figure out where you're trying to go in life, right?
Hmm.
And what got you into MMA? You know,
Uh,
transition from music, arts, and to
y-
going into that's a big transition.
it kind of started over 2020, over the whole pandemic thing. Personally, I fell into a depression at one point, and it was like kind of the mental thing that was going through my head was just like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do in my life. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I was in this weird autopilot where I would just wake up, go to work, go home, pass out, and just on repeat. So it kind of started like like I said, I kind of fell in love with sports science at one point in time. So I started kind of getting back into it a little bit more, trying to train and get myself back in a better shape to clear my head, try to get more happier with the person who I was at the time. And I remember there was one time at the gym that I was training at, the owner of the gym had uh he there was one that I was hitting a heavy bag, and my technique was not there, but he just I had some form of potential. So he comes up to me and he's just like, "Are you a fighter?" Da, 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 da. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just a kid bullshitting and stuff like that." And he was
Mm,
like, "Well, I actually have a brother who's in the UFC, uh, and I can link you guys up. Y'all could train." And the guy's name, he's still in the UFC to this day. Kennedy Nuchoku. Shout out to you. Thank you for being a great inspiration in my life, a pillar. Thank you. I appreciate you.
that's dope,
Um,
man.
I linked up with him for a bit, and who's going to shoot down the opportunity to train with a UFC fighter?
Man, I don't think
You
too many
know,
people.
if you're a kid like me who grew up in martial arts, and that's the big sport of fighting, you're going to say
Man,
yes. That's like another analogy. Is just like if you're a guy who's playing basketball, and some guy say, "Hey, I can link you up with LeBron James," you're not going to say fucking no to
no, you
that.
ain't gonna say nothing.
So Kennedy and I trained for a short period, and phenomenal, like, coach. Like, he clicked something in my head that made me hungry for the sport. And but at that point in time, I wasn't didn't have the best job, so I wasn't making the most money to keep up with the training.
How much was your training when you was into the game?
He would charge for me like 60 an hour,
Oh,
but
shoot.
it still adds up really
Yeah, it
quick.
definitely does.
Uh, and it just got to the point where financially it was just hard. So I decided, I had to contact Kennedy one day. I was just like, "Yo, I love training with you. But financially, it's just hard for me. Is there any way I could keep up with the sport, but go a different route slightly?" And he he was very like uh I would say apologetic, but he didn't really want to give me too much because he still is a client in a way,
Right. Still business.
but he still understood what
Right.
I wanted, and he could see my passion for the sport is definitely there. So he was just like, uh, "I can't guarantee any promises, but you could try to go to the gym I train at for this MMA and try to talk to the head coach there, and you know maybe he will allow you to train there. There's no promises, but go up there and try to talk to the head coach." So me, I'm just like, I'd rather try than not try at all. So
Right.
the next day, I drove to Deep Ellum and went to the gym, and it was like as soon as I went in, and I don't know if you experienced this before, but it felt like this weird sense of belonging. Like, I see everybody training, everybody working out, people sparring. It was a Saturday morning, so everybody sparring.
Felt like you was home.
It felt like
Man,
I was home, and I'm just like, I don't know why, but I'm supposed to be here. I don't know why, but I'm supposed to be here. And I remember meeting the head coach and stuff like that, and he is the most intimidating, but like I have so much respect for this guy, but he still to this day intimidates the hell
man,
out of me.
UFC fighter, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I played football, so I know what it's like to be around the coach. But that's I want to say back in high school, those coaches' job isn't like their job. In a way, that
Right,
sounds
right,
weird. They're teachers first. You could say coaches second.
right,
But this guy is a coach through and through. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care what you have. He doesn't care what your background is. He's going to like look at you with a look of intimidation,
right.
and he just strikes that into you. I'm not saying it's a bad guy, but he does not fuck around. So he met me. He was just like, "Who are you? Which one?" Da da da. And like he was questioning me why I'm there. Yeah, I explained to him like, I'm interested in training here, da da da. And he kind of shot me down a bit. He was just like, "We got no room." And I was like, "Oh no. I was saying here by Kennedy. Oh, you know Kennedy? How you know Kennedy? Da 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 da." He started
Mm,
like rapid
trying to
firing,
grill you.
grill me, and he was just like, "Okay, well, I can't guarantee you a spot, but I'm gonna talk to Kennedy and I'm gonna see what Kennedy says."
Right.
And so I was just praying that like I hope Kennedy put in a good word for me. He did, bless his heart. And the next couple of days, I went back up to the gym because I got an email. And I remember meeting with the coach, and he was just like, Kennedy told me about you. He told me you're a good kid. He told me that, you have a good head on your shoulders. You're hungry to fight. And, he grilled me a little bit more, asking me like why I wanted to fight. And it makes sense to me. You're training someone to be
Right.
a killer in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah, pretty much, man.
So he gave me like uh he kept grilling me and stuff like that. Then he asked me to do one thing for him. Like, hey, you can train here, da da da. Just one, don't talk to no girls here. Don't talk to none of the girls here, and delete certain things on my social media.
Mm,
I understand because at the time I was a little bit of an arrogant asshole. I'm not gonna like shy away from it because at the end of the day, that's who I kind of was.
right, right.
And he told me like, look, if you want to be a pretty boy, take that shit to like LA Fitness or something. But I'm here to train fucking fighters. So you're here to fight. I could train you, but you gotta get some of that shit got to go.
Man.
And I didn't hesitate to delete the pictures that he asked me to delete, and I respect that. And I trained like relentlessly. Like looking back on it, I was going to that gym every fucking day, and I loved it. Right within like 6 months of training, I had my first like unofficial like amateur fight with a smoker, and I remember that fight. It went. I knocked the guy out in the second round.
Mm,
So, um, after sorry, after getting that, I would say high, because that's what it feels like. Not getting enough. It's just rushing adrenaline. It just became an addiction.
man.
Like I just kept training. I was doing a smoker at that time, like every month. Every time they had like a smoker or an event, I'm there. I'm doing it. I'm
Had a
doing
lot of dedication.
yeah, dedication to it. And you know, I was really trying to earn everybody's respect in my gym.
Right.
Like being around those people, just like I one day I want to be able to walk in here and say I can hang with these dogs. I could run with the wolves and stuff.
Man.
And it also just kind of made me a better person, made me more disciplined on who I want to be, on my goals, who's in my life. Some people had to get cut. Um, it's just one of the sacrifices like you gotta go through as you grow up.
That's it, man.
You gotta cut
How,
some ties.
how did you meet Uriah Hall? I know he's your guy now.
Yeah, yeah. He's like a strong father figure in my life. Cause like I said, I lost my dad at like 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. So the relationship between Uriah and I is like he's like an older brother slash dad. Like I could go to this guy for anything. Um, I met him because there was one day I remember training one day at the gym. It was just a regular class, and there's certain times that the pros were training. So got to one of the classes late. No, I was hanging at the classes a little later, like after class and stuff. And I see the pros kind of just head to one side of the gym, try spotters
Mm.
start their sparring rounds. And I hear something about Uriah Hall or some stuff like that, and I was thinking like, wait, the same Uriah Hall from The Ultimate
Man.
Fighter? And because I grew up watching UFC and stuff
Man,
like that,
Uriah
so I'm
Hall's
just
my guy.
like, there's no way it's the same guy. It's just gonna be a weird
Man.
coincidence. And just like I saw him with the other pros, so there's other pros too that I watched a little bit in my college years too. And it was just weird seeing them all training and stuff like that. 'Cause I'm just like, what the hell? I just watched these guys on TV and now they're like close. Like, I mean, they're same building as them.
Man, that's deep.
Yeah. Then someone told me, like, yeah, Uriah teaches a class on Wednesdays. Da, da, da. And when I heard that, I'm like, I'm clearing my Wednesdays because I want to learn from this guy. And, being around him, like I say, really, I picked up certain things from him. Like, he has an amazing sense of style, great humor, a beautiful human being. And like I say, he's like an older brother to me. So if I need advice about fighting, weight cutting, or like dieting, all that stuff, he will always tell me. And he even looks out for me on the outside of the gym and stuff like that. And that's why I love my coaches there, because they're gonna, you know, help you not only in the gym but in personal things too. So that's why I said I just love being at the gym. I just met so many beautiful people there.
What was it like? What's the hardest thing about fighting, man? You being having that as your career. What's the hardest thing about being a fighter?
Um, I would say the hardest thing is one. I would say it's one of two things: either being comfortable with the idea of getting punched in the face. I mean, honestly, no fighter on this planet, none. You guys, John Jones, Israel Adesanya, uh, any of the greats up there, Uriah Hall. You guys ain't able to do like being hit. They gonna look at you like you're crazy. Like, hell no. I don't like to be punched. I don't like to be kicked. I don't like to be choked out. I like to hit people.
Man.
And that's what every fighter would say. I like hitting people. I don't like being hit.
Man.
Um, but they train you to to bear it. That's literally the sport of fighting, is to deliver, uh, to throw more punches and to not get hit as much. I don't know the full phrase of it. I kind of botched it. I know, but it's just the underline of it. Like, hit more and not get hit.
Right.
That's the sport of it. And, I would say the second thing that's kind of harder at is just scheduling, because you're juggling a lot in your personal life, and then you're doing this after or before work or whatever. Uh, and I would say you're tired. That's the one thing I kind of noticed the further I got into the sport. Because when I first started, I didn't have a lot of things going on in my life, so I had a little more freedom to just constantly go to the gym every day. But then as I got 2 years in, and um I kind of start adding more into my life. Like, I'm going to school. I have a girlfriend, a beautiful woman in my life. Um, more responsibilities. It's just kind of hard to kind of keep balances.
Because now you got to juggle all these
Now you got
things.
to juggle everything, but you got to understand is that, like, there's always gonna be time to do stuff.
Man.
So that's the one thing I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, you gotta make time for these things. You might
Man.
not have all the time you want with these things, but you gotta find a way to make these times for these
Man.
things.
See, that's the thing, because the hardest thing, like you said, the hardest thing is that I think just having the drive, right?
Yep.
Because that's a grueling sport, and you got to work harder than the person you fight.
Yeah. And um it is difficult because you don't really know too much about your opponents. Once you do get set with fight, you really don't know too much outside of film you watch. But sometimes film could be somewhat deceiving. You can pick up so much from it. And I remember my very first official amateur fight, like record and everything. I got paired up with an opponent and I was ready. I was like, let's fucking go. They had the posters posted on the internet. I was like putting on my socials. Trying to get everybody in my life involved with it. But then I hear like a week or two later that, hey, your opponent has to pull,
Man.
and I'm just like, I was like, damn. But that's just a fight game at the end of the day. But my coach was just like, we could probably find someone new for you to fight.
Right.
So I wouldn't say I wasted 2 weeks, but it's just like you wasted time studying another person. Now I have less time to study the person I'm going against now. And slightly funny story, but the second guy they paired me up with, I was in for. I'm like, okay, this guy's I believe it's a Taekwondo background,
Damn.
so I'm expecting kicks. So I was prepping with Uriah because Uriah is known for being like
A big kicker.
a big kicker.
Man.
So I'm just like, I'm getting ready for this fight. So I'm gonna turn with Uriah. Da, 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 da. Then 2 days later, this guy pulls. So I'm just like, what the hell? Um, then they find me like a third guy. Then he pulls like a little bit after. Then one of my coaches came up to me. It was funny because he comes up to me. He just like, Jalen, turn off your goddamn Instagram. And I'm like, what? And he was like, turn off your Instagram. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was just like, I feel like every time I pair you up with somebody, they look you up and they get intimidated and they pull out.
Man.
And I'm just like, what the hell? So they paired me up with another fighter. It was like very last minute. This guy doesn't fight my weight class. He fight 2 weight classes below it, but they only paired us up because like it was just the timing of everything.
Right.
So it was just like he's I think a natural like 150, 60 guy walks around that
Damn.
weight class. So it just made sense for us to be paired up at the time. But this guy had a little more fights under his belt. So I was just like, look, I don't care how many times this guy have fought more than me. I'm going. I ain't backing out like everybody else is doing. I'm gonna go in. If I get hurt, I get hurt. That's the sport. That's why I do this to prove that I one day I'm gonna be able to hang with these wolves. So with all of that, it just kind of just like paired me up with the guy. We fought. He won. I lost. TKO. I believe it was a doctor stoppage because like I was bleeding from the ear.
Damn.
Uh, but when it happened, I was ready to keep fighting. But as I say, sometimes
I,
fighters are too tough for their own good.
I gotta ask this because you say you was rocked in that fight.
Yeah.
How is it when you get actually stunned? What is the feeling as being a fighter? Is it like the weirdest feeling? The great? How do you feel at that point?
I can tell you 2 times I have been rocked. The one time in sparring and the one time in the actual fight. And it was 2 different experiences. The first time that happened when I was in your earlier stages of my training, I was sparring one of my close sparring partners, and uh he I was tired, and this kid is amazing striker. And I got tired halfway through the round, and I started dropping my hands.
Oh shit.
And what he did was he faked the kick on me. So I thought he was going to kick straight up the middle. So I was putting my hands down to get ready to block, and then he whipped his leg over. He did a question mark kick. That's what it's called. The question mark kick. And
Oh
got me
damn.
boom. But I don't think he was trying to hit me hard, but it was just clean. That's something a lot of people don't understand. A hit doesn't need to land hard. As long as it land clean, it's gonna fucking rock you. It doesn't have to land hard. It can just be a
Really?
clean shot to the face. Like it's very bizarre. So he didn't hit me hard, but it was just how clean he got me. And what happened was like it was like being in a cartoon. Like I could see him in front of me, and he could see me like I'm not knocked out, but I'm like frozen somewhat.
Dang.
So he was just like he was apologetic. He was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Like, are you good? Are you good, bro?" And I couldn't say words, but I could like shake my head. Like I just remember just shaking my head, like
So
yeah.
that's what they be experiencing in a
And
fight.
then thank God he did not come at me with the force of 1,000 suns.
Man.
He just faint at me to like try to see if I would react to anything. And he threw 2 or 3 fades, and he noticed that, like I was like gloss eyed, like I was just looking to like 1,000 hours stare at him, and he was just like, "You're not okay. Sit down."
Man.
But
So that's what they go through in actual fights. So when they get rocked, that's why. But
it's
some of
literally just like you're looking. If I'm looking at you right now, I see like two other yous, and he's just going
damn,
back and forth.
and they be surviving that.
And yeah, and it's crazy because it's like it's your there's I heard someone put it like that. There's two different ways of feeling rocked. There's the one where you get hit in your temple. I think that's what I got hit with. Where it's more your equilibrium is thrown off. So you're trying to find the balance. So I felt like if I would have took a step, I will lost my footing because my
Mm,
body doesn't know what's going on. And then there's another one where I've been clipped in the chin, I believe, and it just feels like my your leg just comes from under you.
you
Is
kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. That's just what it feels like. Um, but if you have the ability to recover, it's so hard. So you see people like casual people watch fights and stuff like that, and I ain't gonna lie, I done it a few times before I actually got my ass in the ring. And you be yelling at your favorite fighter like, "Get the fuck up! Get the fuck up!"
But
and
now
stuff
you're
like that.
experiencing. You're like,
It,
"Yeah, I feel you."
then I'm watching these fights now. I'm just like, I'm telling my friends, you chill out. You don't know what he is trying to get up. We are trying to get up, but it's just your body does not want to get
Man.
up. So it's like
Mm,
your body is your mind is fighting your body sometimes. It's like you're trying to get up and your body's just like, what the fuck are you doing? No, no, stop, no, we're
damn.
done here. But there's also no body shots. I would say I hate body shots more than like getting hit in the head.
Really?
Yeah,
So the body shots is it hurts
that's
the
the one that stings. That's the one you really feel. A headshot, it's just more you're just off balance, extremely off balance, but the body shot is the one you really feel. I know you ever had a wind knocked out of you. I know you ever
yeah,
experienced any form of that, and you know that feeling just like you're trying to find a breath
and you can't catch it.
and you can't catch it.
You're like,
Yeah, it reminds me when a great example is when Ryan Garcia fought Tank Davis and he got
man,
hit in the body.
and he fell to his knee
And he
like,
felt,
hey,
that literally happens. And I did it to a few of my sparring partners when I would do a kick and I just catch them in the liver or something like that. It's just your legs and your body just shuts down. You
man.
had no control over it. Absolutely
That's
none.
why it's like it's some tough dudes. I be seeing dudes get rocked, they be surviving and
Yeah.
coming back. Like, man,
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's easier to come back from a headshot if it's not super brutal,
mm,
but a body shot is just it's your legs. You're literally fighting your legs to work again.
golly, man. Now I gotta ask you, what was your experience? How did you feel? I know you said you got a high when you had knocked somebody down.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel any guilt? I know, how was it? Like,
It's instant hide and second wave of guilt because like I would say this like for what I have seen or experienced, like you get that high and a huge rush of adrenaline, you're so happy, but then you kind of look back at your second glance at your opponent and you see he or she or whatever is still kind of like not there and they're not recovering well. So that's when you start getting that sense of like dread a bit, like, oh shit, did I really hurt this person? Because at the end of the day, we want to win, but we don't
right,
want to cripple somebody.
right, man.
And you can ask any fighter, it's just like, yes, it feels amazing, but we still want to make sure you could go home to your family or you're not completely damaged.
Now I gotta ask you, we talking about fighting here. We just had a fight just happened with who was it? My boy Leon Edwards and
Kobe
Kobe.
covered last night. Yeah.
So in that fight, Kobe he wasn't aggressive at all. Like he
Ring rust.
normally,
Yeah.
yeah.
Heavy ring rust.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So when we talk about ring rust, like what happens? It's all about the timing. When you ain't sparred in a while, is it just like having that muscle memory? You're losing that.
Yes. And I would say fighting is one of those sports where you kind of have to do consistently in order to keep your skills up. If you take time off, even there be moments where I take time off for a week that I come back and I feel like I'm starting it from scratch.
You kidding?
And it's not one of those things where I mean, you do have plays in your head, you do have like setups in your head, but it's just really more like your muscle memory is kind of off of it. And everybody reads different. Everybody doesn't fight the same. So it's just like uh it's really hard to navigate yourself between opponents and stuff like that.
Mm.
And obviously the longer you're off, the more muscle memory you kind of lose. I mean, you can still be in the gym actively here and there, but fighting is literally the sport. I'm not trying to diss football or basketball or anything, but there is legitimate levels to this shit, like legit levels. And like I said, taking a week off, you might be like level 99 one week. Then you decide to recover one week, come back, and you're like level 80. You're like, what the fuck? I was level 99 2 weeks ago. What the hell happened?
So it's like you can come in a fight like because I be hearing like in sparring sessions they always talk about he killed everybody in the gym, but when the lights come on and he fighting, it's like you don't do.
Yeah, because there's different things that plays into it. Like, speaking of my own like experiences, like I would do amazing sparring sessions. I'm getting prepped for the fight. You know, I'm ready. I'm ready to go in. But the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that you're missing a variable. There's one variable you're missing from sparring and after fighting: the adrenaline. There's, there's, I would say, not adrenaline. Uh, the adrenaline dumps. That's right. It's the adrenaline dump. Because in sparring, at the end of the day, your teammate isn't gonna kill you. He might
Mm.
push you, but there's gonna be a point where he's not gonna like, okay, I'm gonna stop here because you're not throwing back. In the actual fight, your mind is processing like the only person who could stop this fight is the ref. He's not gonna stop at my opponent isn't gonna stop at his own division. No,
Try to kill.
he's gonna try to kill me. So that's the thing a lot of people don't understand that when you're in ring or the cage is that the only way this fight can end is that ref pulls like stops it.
Man.
So and for just speaking on my own experiences, it's just that like it's that fear also because there is that fear that lingers in the back of every fighter's head that I could potentially be knocked out in front of my friends or family, or this could go ugly, or I could break a leg or break an arm. Things could go sideways real quick. But
Man.
that's any combat sport, boxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, even slightly outside of that. Just speaking from a athletic perspective, I really don't try to talk shit too much to like athletes, like professional athletes.
Because
No
you
matter
kind
how,
of see how it is. Like,
yeah, because the normal casual people don't understand, walking onto a field or whatever, that feeling we get, it's or onto a court into a ring, that stuff is mind numbing. It's just
man, I commend it because, dude, you fighting around, man, you fighting around like thousands, millions of people, and you expected to perform. So you got to block out the people and focus on the fight.
and it's loud. Like my last fight was just a small thing, but it was still loud. So I can only can imagine what these high level pros are experiencing because you're fighting in stadiums, and I guarantee that has to be deafening at one point. And you're trying so hard to listen to your cornermen too. So your coaches, your cornermen, and people and stuff like that. And just from my own experiences, it's hard because like you're battling your own nerves. You're trying to make sure the guy in front of you doesn't knock your head off. And you're still trying to make sure that you can hear your cornerman. But as like personally for me, for what I learned is that you kind of had to be somewhat comfortable with getting punched in the face because you're not really thinking when you're fighting. You're really trying to listen because you gotta understand your coach is basically your eyes and ears. You're just
Mm.
kind of just the video. You play video game before, right?
Right,
And
right,
you press certain buttons, and and character you're playing as does a certain action.
right.
That's what you're kind of doing a little bit when you're fighting. You're listening out for
Your
your
coach.
coach because your coach can see more things than you can.
Mm.
Like your coach has that time to see what's going on before you do, and you may not pick it up because you're worried about not getting hit. So your coach was saying, "Oh, his left hand is Lauren. Left hand Lauren. Look out for that. Drive to his right. Drive to his left. He doesn't have a he don't have
Man,
a pressure. Yeah,
that's a lot, dude. Because you're dealing with watching out for him. You gotta listen to them, and boy, you gotta be smart.
yeah.
Gotta be a smart fighter,
You have to be because like I would say you have to be. Yeah, of course you have to be smart, but you have to be capable of listening.
man.
Always listening, and that's hard because, like I said, you're scared about getting hit, and like I said, going back to the beginning of it, you have to be okay with getting hit because you have to listen.
Man, because it's hard. I say it because it's hard because you got millions of people screaming, everybody in the back. You still got to listen to them, so you get like, man.
Yeah, yeah, but you hear a lot of fighters will say, uh, quoting is around the sound and fuck the noise. And that's true. And that's in everyday life too. Sometimes you're gonna hear things people say about you, and you gotta be able to just focus on what's in front of you or what's behind you, like your coaches and stuff like that. So you gotta be able to tune things out. And like I said, that works in the real world too.
Man, what advice you can give to any young guy who want to come up and do mixed martial arts?
I would just say you just gotta love it and put yourself with a good team. I would say the team, your gym is big, so you gotta put yourself around people um, who's gonna push you, and while pushing you, they understand your limits and how they could tweak you. They're not in the sense like they try to overwork you, but they're trying to get you past that little level. Like, okay, I'm not trying to make you go from level 1 to level 10. I want to make sure you can go from level 1 to 2 comfortably, level 2 to 3 comfortably, level 1 to 4 comfortably if we have to.
Right,
Like minor changes, not going from 0 to 100. Because I hear some jumps do that.
right, and it's crazy, man. I would like to ask this too. What is your favorite MMA fighter, man? What is the fight that kind of inspired you to even try to do it?
Uh, I would say top 3 GSP. Uh, GSP is one. Anderson Silva's one, and John Jones is one.
Man,
Like,
GSP mine too. I ain't gonna lie. It was
yeah,
GSP, BJ Penn, and Anderson Silva top one,
yeah.
man.
I mean, if you grew up watching MMA, everyone knows Anderson Silva.
Man,
Like that guy was a phenom in his weight class. Just the way he like. There's so many like fighters in this modern day era. Excuse me, that will always emulate him. The biggest comparison is Israel Adesanya and Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva. And sometimes people will say Uriah Hall, my coach, and uh, Anderson. And
you didn't Uriah Hall fight Anderson
yeah,
Silva?
I believe that was
Man,
Anderson's last fight. Yeah,
man, bro, that was terrible how you went on Anderson Silva, man.
but that's the thing. Just like I remember when my coach told me that story and them fighting, and he told me that like it was hard because
Man,
you have so much respect for this person and you see them uh as an idol, but you gotta understand, sometimes you gotta put down the back burner. Like my job is to fight this guy, so you know. I'm sorry if I break your face, but I will buy you wherever you want at the end of the day.
man.
I mean, that's every
And I gotta ask this question because you know Uriah Hall. You know the fight he got in with Chris Rodman.
yeah.
How was that experiencing from him? Because that was a crazy experience to witness. Because Chris Rodman snapped his leg, man.
I can only tell you what he told me, and he just told me he didn't even feel it. So
You kidding?
yeah, and us
Mm,
casual people
right.
watched it on TV. We just saw that snap and wrap around his leg, then pulled it back, then just get My coach told me just like he didn't even feel the kick. Like he felt the kick, like,
God
but he
damn.
didn't feel like the snapping part and stuff like that. So it's just yeah. I would chalk that up to just the adrenaline, and that's real. Because when you're in an actual fight, you don't feel that much pain when it's delivered.
Really? I ain't think about it like that. It's
Yeah,
the adrenaline. It's all the
the adrenaline's there and stuff, but like 20, 30 minutes after the fight, that's when you start feeling like the soreness kick in, the adrenaline wearing off. You're just like, oh fuck, that was that leg kick and stuff.
damn, man.
I remember after my last fight, I got the leg kicks added up and stuff like that. But during the fight, I didn't feel it. But when I left the fight, I was walking back to my car. I was just like, I can't put pressure on my leg.
Man, so you don't really feel all the damage to afterwards, man. Jeez.
Not too much.
And
Not
and
no.
so, man, I got to ask this: the mental toughness. I feel like of a fighter, man, you got to be very strong minded. And I feel that way is because we got distractions now. I mean, we got a lot. We got phones. We got everything. And to have you got to have a certain level of like a drive, a
Extremely,
consistent drive.
extremely, and to be, I would say to be a fighter, you really got to be able to tune those stuff out. Like I remember going to practice, and my coach will all post safe will always tell us at the end of practice. He will always pull out his phone and tell us this shit ain't real. What happens on this phone is not real, and you know, you gotta be able to just put your phone away and stuff like that, and just not be in the hype. Because uh, as I get older and start kind of reading into it more, it's just social media, phone technology. It's very toxic,
Man, it took
very
us away from human connection.
it extremely did. Like,
You could be on the date with your girl, y'all both like this.
yep, 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 and um, I would actually would say that my girl helped me kind of get past that a bit because before I got a relationship, I've doing things on my phone with multiple people and stuff like that, and you know, with being this generation, people think that's normal. When we kind of got to think about it, it's not really normal.
No,
If
man. I'm a 90s man
yeah,
kid, man.
so it's just like my girl kind of helped me that to cut certain things out. She helped me clean my Instagram. I like looking back on it, I thought she was just being controlling and stuff like that. There was thoughts of that, but it was just like, no, she just understands where I want to be, and she understands that, like, you know, there's a sense of tough love in there. So I understand that what she was doing was just like, I know you want to be here with your life and do
Man.
great things,
And
but you gotta understand, you gotta take this shit
the
out.
distractions have to go
The distraction has to go.
and do, because we finna
But it's like a
close.
drug. That's a weird
It
thing.
is, man. I mean, because I know you finna close. I gotta ask this because you are on that point, man. It makes so much sense because in order to do what you're doing, it's the same to me as being an entrepreneur, being a fighter, because you are self-employed
Yeah.
because you fighting for yourself.
Yeah.
You the one that got to get up and train.
And that's honestly why I'm also going back to school too to get my certification to be a mechanic.
Mm,
Because I realized that, like, I'm a single once I get the certification, I'm gonna work for myself and just strict try to work for myself and stuff like that. And I realized that going back to school, I now have the discipline that I didn't have while I was at UNT, because I now am around people who is going to hold me accountable.
man. And
So
that's what you need as a man. You need
you
people.
need that. And I hate to I'm not gonna say I hate to say it, but like, it's real. It's the hardest thing as young men that we had to come to terms with, is that we don't have all the answers. Like, I'm about to be 28 in 2 months, and I can still understand I don't always have the answers. So I have mentors. I have Uriah Hall's my biggest mentor. Coach Safe is one of my mentors. Ocho is one of my mentors. Um, because they have experienced things that I haven't experienced.
Man.
So I got to take their knowledge. And there's actually I remember hearing this very interesting thing on uh here's me saying that social media is toxic. But I'm about bringing up a podcast I seen on social media, but that's besides the point. The guy said three things. There's three things to be successful in life. You got to put God first in everything you do. Second is you had to remain humble and be able to learn from everybody. Because it doesn't matter how old, how young it is, someone may know something you don't know. So you got to be able to be in that humble book and understand you come right from everybody. And the third one is you have to be relentless in your goal. So, you know, you can't. Who said this? Michael Jordan said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Man.
So you're gonna miss a lot, but if you could remain relentless on everything, you're gonna be successful. You gotta be able to take all those no's, because you just need one yes at the end of the day.
That's it. That's why I say you guys got to keep trying until you eventually pull it off, man, I gotta ask, listen, what do you see yourself in the next 5 years in mixed martial art in your career going forward?
Still doing it. At what level? At the highest level, hopefully. Uh, I gotta get back into the gym, and because after seeing my teammates fought last night, it really kind of ignited a fire in my heart to, even though I didn't fight, that fire's still there. Even though I got a lot of things on my plate, I can still train, I can still fight. There's always could be opportunities for me to be in the cage or in the ring or whatever. I just gotta remain consistent. So it's just really just try to keep that drive alive, no matter what,
Man,
no matter no matter what comes into it. You gotta keep going.
that's it, man. And with the closer, we always do this board thing, man. We doing invest, invest as a family, invest with people in your life. And we're not talking about investing like money, dealing with invest, whether you have a woman or you have friends in your life, investing in coming future. How do you feel about investing, um, taking that foot forward in your life when it comes to people, money, and just overall?
Something that my Uriah told me is that, like the whole idea of investing, you could put so much into certain things, but you can't always guarantee it turned out to work in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the one thing I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding is that just because you put hours or dollars or time into something doesn't mean you're guaranteed what's the word I'm looking for? You're not going to be obligated a great outcome.
Guaranteed,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're not gonna be guaranteed a great outcome. So I would tell people, like, of course, be consistent and stuff like that, and try to make those opportunities and make certain things happen. But don't think just because you're doing these things that is going to happen.
Let's go, man.
But still go for it. Like I said, you miss 100% of shots you don't take. So take the shot. Might bounce off the round, but I would rather say, hey, I took it.
Man,
Mike Tyson said best. Mike Tyson said best. He said, "I would rather and fail, but and never try."
drop, man. That is so real, man. It's so many people in the world is afraid to take chances.
You have to.
You have
Life
to.
is built off risk.
Man, that's what exactly, man. And the biggest risk takers get the best rewards in life.
Exactly.
And that's the cold hearted truth, man. Any last words you have for the people, man, here at the round table?
Um, I would say, try to love your fellow man. Try to try to spread more love, because we're in a time period where there is so much hate, so much animosity, so much jealousy, and it's slowly tearing everybody apart. And I feel like we just gotta just try to be there for each other a little bit more. I get it. It's hard. Sometimes you wake up and you don't want to deal with nobody or like nobody, and just try to push everybody away. But it's hard for everybody. Like, we're all in this game of life, and we're all trying our best to make something ourselves. So I would say just try to be kind to your next man. It's hard, but just try.
That's it, man. We're gonna wrap this up here at the Birds United Round Table. I appreciate all y'all for coming out, and see you next time at Birds United Round Table Podcast.